Alright, so we're back. It's Monday morning, 9:05. I do believe I just had my mic off while I was yammering for a second. So let's see what we got going on. It looks like the stream is running a little slow. Let's double check this. So connecting. So it should connect now. Alright, now it says I've got an excellent connection into YouTube. So let's see what we got. Alright, should buffer a little bit.
Yeah, okay, got you now.
Alright, now it should be back. Okay, cool. Well, let's see what's going on here then. Oh, this is not cool. This is not cool. You guys still hear me on Discord?
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine on both.
Okay, cool. Is it coming through on... Well, now, see, I just killed my VPN, and YouTube is saying,
Yeah.
giving me some grief.
It's coming, the stream's coming through fine on YouTube. It's not buffering or anything.
Oh. Alright. Well, I'm just gonna run with it then. See what we get. So, well, folks, happy Monday. that is the way, ain't it? So, sometimes you get the gremlins in the system. So what we're going to get into today, I'm going to continue from where I was at the other day working on that Basilisk. But first, I took a little personal time over the weekend to finish this guy up. So, got this bad boy all painted up finally. Very, very happy with it. Very happy with it. Let's see if it'll focus in nice and tight here at all. Oof, there we go.
This dog is going to be the death of me.
Oh, I hear complaining. In the stream. Gina must be here.
Lovely, Les. Lovely.
Oh, and we got to start on painting this guy up. And this fella right here is a hunter fiend from my book Apocalypse Girl. So I'm super stoked with this guy. Can't wait to get him all painted and everything. So, let's see. What have I got on tap today? Oh my god. I have a comic book cover I have to finish for somebody. So that's going to be fun. And then I have products I have to get out the door. It's going to be an interesting day. It's going to be super busy. It's that latter half of the month push that always just kills me. But in the meantime, I am here for the stream this morning. Yay. And where are we going? So let's take a look. This might not be as long as streams usually are, but we shall see. I'm going to go switch off to here. And I want to touch on a few things that I got going on here. Okay. So we were working on the Basilisk the other day. And this is what we ended up coming down to on topology. And here are the UVs to this guy. So I broke the legs off into their own UDIM tile. Then here's the body. And this is the inner mouth with teeth attached around it. Still tempted to change that. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's where I landed on that. Very happy with that topology. I think that's going to rig really well. And I can't wait to get this guy rigged, because once I rig it, then I can pose it. And once I pose it, then I'll actually be able to run prints and stuff of it. Plus, this stuff is going to end up getting released for DAZ Studio users. So, like, if you're into just the digital side of what I do, then you'll be able to play with it there. And if you're just into now the miniatures physical side of what I'm doing, you'll be able to play with it there. So, just as a quick note, which way we want to go here? Okay, so here he is. I've taken this guy into Substance Painter. I have a number of funky things going on here. Okay, so here you can see there's all this detail in there, but that's still the low-res mesh. So if I were to go over to my display settings, turn on wireframe, there you can see we're looking at a lot more detail than what that mesh actually holds. And that's because I have generated a normal map inside Substance from the high-res sculpt. So I exported a sculpt that was about 11 million polygons, and in my texture set settings, I go into Bake Mesh Maps, and here you can see where it's referenced. So you click on this little guy right here, and you can reference a file, an OBJ, that it'll compare to your low-res mesh, and then it'll generate normal maps from that. And then I think it also uses that for calculating things like ambient occlusion, curvature, and so on. Oh, look, here's the incredibly long autosave. Oh, it was a quick autosave. Wow. Usually the autosave in Substance takes forever, and it annoys me to no end. So from there, we have, okay, I have this fill layer set up on top that's driven by ambient occlusion. This is something I like to do. I'll have a dark color, usually not completely black, but some dark color in there, and have this layer set to multiply. And then in my fill layer, right now on this one, I'm using a dirt generator, which really is heavily driven by ambient occlusion. I could just use an AO generator, but I like the dirt one better because it also picks up some cracks and crevices from the normal map. And then I will blur that a little bit just to soften the effect. So then with this sitting on top, see if I turn that off and I go into this material I have on here called base skin, if I turn anything on there, you know, we start to lose some of the surface, but as soon as I turn that ambient occlusion kicker on, we regain a lot of that. We regain a lot of those localized shadows. And so here I have these materials are different, but it's kind of subtle. I'm actually thinking I'm going to change that right now. So let's make this belly material here, the bottom material, a little lighter. Yeah, I like that better already. And then here I have a layer called Skin Details, and that is where I have painted this yellow and red mottled effect just with a watercolor type paint. And really don't need any of those on for that. So this is just about color. So from there, you can see I have a bunch of different things plugged into the masking here. I have masking that compares with the height and normal from below it. And just all kinds of crazy stuff going on in there. And I do believe, let's see here. No. I let this sit overnight, so I have to kind of go back and find my way again on it. Let's see, we have these bone areas. Yeah, these protuberances sticking out here. And that kind of rides on top of everything. So I'm still kind of on the fence about that, the color on that and everything. And I've been playing around with the amount of height, because this material really gets crinkly. So it's very I don't know, very difficult to sort of find exactly the feel I want on this. So there, I'm just moving the manipulator for the way that it's projecting that texture in here. I feel like this bottom one needs to amp up quite a bit. That actually feels better already. Cool. Now let's take the skin details, and I'm going to change the base color on this. So let's see. Kind of like that. A little better. Hey Adobe, if you're listening, why don't you make it so we can rotate that light up and down instead of just in a cylindrical loop going around it. Sure be nice to be able to rotate that light over the top or under the bottom. Thanks Adobe, in case you're listening. But they're not. So, here I'm going in and painting some bits and bobs here and there. Okay. Just adding some specifics. And then I exported all this. And oh, let's take a look at something else here too that's kind of neat. So right here, just so you guys can see it, I put together a little node network in Substance Designer, where I've pulled in. You can't really see them that well, but these are all little swatches of different bone textures that I found different places. And I pulled those in and then put them all through this node right here, which is a multi-switch for color. Then I run that multi-switch for color out into a warp so that I can add some variation. Warp driven by a fractal sum base. Then I run the output of that warp into a make it tile node, so we get a nice tiling texture out of that. And I have the this warp is opened up, so meaning the we have the intensity parameter unlocked so that it will show up inside Painter. Then we have a few other levels and things in between this bitmap to material. So this bitmap to material is going to take the output from this tile, where this tile's, whatever's driven into it, it's going to take that and output all these different PBR channels based on that. And then just to have a little further control over that as it passes to our material, I've got an HSL in the base color path. Normal's going to stay intact, but then in front of roughness, metallic, and AO, I have levels, and all of these have parameters opened to Substance Painter. So then from there, inside Substance Painter, if I come back in here, let's go over here, and what was that named? Bone types. So if I come in here with, let's just turn that off for a second. Turn all these off so it's just white and we can see more clearly. If I come in and I grab this bone types material now, which, by the way, now in Substance Designer, we can, once you've saved your package, you can go to file. Where is it? No, it's right here. You go right click on your package and go send to Substance Painter, and it will send this just straight over into Substance and select it in your library, which is super handy. So I'll take this bone types and just drag that out, and it'll make a new fill layer. Of course, this comes in with my metallicity cranked up, which I don't want. So I need to reduce that over in Designer and resave that, just so it loads in the way that I'd like. Let's change it to triplanar. And then crank up the repetitions a little bit of the pattern. And I find sometimes the triplanar is just a little too patterny. You can see a little easier. Whereas like a spherical projection can work out cool. Not so much here. I don't know, it varies. Sometimes I'll take copies of a material and put it on with different, put like 2 or 3 copies inside a folder and then give them all different mapping methods and put masking on them so that I can paint back and forth between different ways that they lay on the mesh. All right, let's take this back to triplanar. Okay, so the things that I opened up to Painter from inside Designer, if you guys can see this, I'm gonna double check, make sure everybody's seeing it. Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys can see it. So as I said, there's numerous parameters here that open up to Painter from inside. So here you can see where those show up. So like from here, the most obvious one is if we go to this thing I have labeled bone type, then we cycle through those different base maps. And so now I have this material that I can use anytime to get through. I think I have 7 different bone types in here. That one's pretty wonky. I'll probably remove that one or change it. So I kind of like that one. That one's pretty neat. Let me crank that up. That's actually not bad at all. Let's turn that hardness down so the stuff blends out better. Okay. And I'm going to copy the mask here from where it says bone types before, where I've used this before. And we'll just copy that mask and paste it into here. So I really kind of dig that. Now I'm going to add a filter on here just to blur the edges of that a bit and make it blend in a bit more. So, and I think we could even combine these two a little bit by doing a compare mask. And let's do compare the height. I think I want this set to multiply. Okay, there we go. And let's do it within a tolerance. So there, now I can blend in some of this bone texture with the other bone texture layer that was in there. And it's going to blend that based on the height, the displacement height in the mesh. That's pretty cool. So let's turn on my skin details layer. See what we have going on here. And the other two. Okay. I'm feeling like my skin details layer, the paint that I have on that is really not doing me any favors. I was thinking about some yellow in there to kind of break this guy up a little bit. Let's play with the levels command on those colors. And then see where we go with that. Of course, I have that color mode set to colorize. So let's just Not really digging that. Alright, let's try filtering that a little bit. I'm just kind of playing around here, so we'll see where we end up. Let's walk back down through these and see what all we have going on here. Here, I'm actually trying to pull a mask from the, I think it was the height map. And then I'm pushing levels on that to really squeeze it. I like that better. Actually, I like that a lot better. Sometimes it's good to just come back to these things with fresh eyes. So, let's see what we got going on here. As you can tell from the sound of it, my significant other has joined us in the background, so that's a thing. I think probably next year we're going to be moving to a different house, and I will be making sure that the studio is not close to the kitchen. Oh. Man, it is so Monday. Alright. So, let's see. Where do we want to go from there? Oh, yes. So, now, at an earlier state, I exported an image map and took it into Zbrush and got this guy subdivided up nice and high because I wanted to have a set of painted maps from out of Zbrush that I could bring in and use as well. Because you can really work back and forth between those quite nicely. And there are some things that Zbrush does with painting that Substance doesn't, and vice versa. So there's no reason not to combine like the best of both worlds. So let's go in here inside Zbrush. Let me go into my brushes. And I have a ton of brushes saved that I have used for years. It's amazing. There are brushes that I made 10, 12 years ago or more that are still just awesome, and I use them all the time. So let's go grab one of those. I'm going to grab my brush called Sensitive Wash, and then I'm also going to grab my Sensitive Dry Brush. And let's just come in here with that Sensitive Dry Brush. Do a little bit of painting across the tips of these points. So let's just paint across some of this stuff. This is at, like I said, this is at like 11 million polygons here, so it's really, it's pretty high res for a single mesh. But that's going to give us plenty of room to paint these maps in like this. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn on my polyfill here, and I want to try to get some skin showing in the cracks on all this. So let's go to masking. I'm going to do a mask by cavity. See what that turns up. Just stay focused over here for a little bit. There we go. So now I've hidden that mask. And then I'm going to take my sensitive wash in here. And that's a bit much. I just want to real gently come in here with this. Really want to focus that on the underside, I think. Okay, and by doing this, when I bring these maps back over into Substance, just having that color that's based on these geometric details is going to help make that stuff pop out more, even as I blend it in with other texture methods and materials and things. So now then, let's turn that mask back on and blur it once. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to turn all that down a little bit and maybe start filling that just a little bit. Okay. Now my mask turned off, and let's take that sensitive dry brush here, and let's grab some of this kind of pink tone. I can brush back over here and pick up some of the height of that. And I also want to add some noise into this entire surface, and then after that I may end up baking my normal map again. So let's see. Yeah, literally just some low-level noise. So now, turn that off. I'm just going to mask my noise instead of projecting that in, so that now I can come back through with just a standard brush and kind of paint some different bits into here with that. So we can punch up a few areas. Yeah, there we go. So I really like that, and I'm thinking I also want to add some actual geometric detail with that can be used to further drive some normal mapping. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that I get enough surface breakup in here to really give it nice, porous, realistic look once we get it all pushed through the different materials and layers inside Substance. Also, I can use this as an opportunity to heighten certain areas, like accent certain things with some forced shadows. Alright. Then let's switch off here. Just something a little more like that. That'll warm up the underside. I like the idea of having the undersides of creatures like this have a feeling of being more vulnerable. One of the fun things about this is that this mapping that was on here, though, originally generated out of Substance. So then I can take that, you know, just exporting the maps and bringing them back and forth. It's really handy. Alright. So there we can get a nice little bit more color variation on the bones with that. Okay. Take a quick render and see how it renders inside ZBrush. Okay, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I'm thinking I want to go back in, possibly with some more of this sensitive dry brush. And just a very low value with a, let's grab the color right there and then go to a lighter value of that color. We use that to do a little bit of highlighting. Just in a few spots, just kind of make a certain few areas kind of pop out a little bit. I'm half tempted to add a bit of a pattern into the texture. I wonder what that would look like. If we took something and came in here. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a way to go. Definitely a way to go. This is happening. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like that. That's cool. Yeah. Let's amp this guy up a little bit. Right. Yeah, sometimes a little exploration is exactly what you need to find, you know, the color palette that's going to work best. Kind of figure out what your range is going to be. Sometimes I know going in exactly what I want something to be. A lot of times, really, but then, you know, every once in a while, it can be a little, I don't know. You don't always know, and sometimes it's good just to wing it and then find your way with some exploration. So I think that has a lot of potential. Don't like those last two strokes, so I'm just going to undo past those a little bit. I do like this striping, and I'm glad that I decided to experiment with that, because I feel like that's really helping this. Ugh. Yeah, I like that kind of vertical camo feel and those kind of strokes on this guy. That's got a lot more variation to it, a lot more stuff that I really, really like there. Let's take a sensitive wash and add some stuff down here that will help punch up these depths. Maybe unify that stuff a little bit. Alright. And I'll just do that back there. Yeah, I'm digging that. Alright, now I'm going to take some black, my sensitive wash, and just real gently punch up some of these areas. Almost forgot. I wanted to throw some of this in back here. Just turn that way up. Let my pressure do the work. Alright. And one more time, sensitive wash. Go. So then I'm going to grab my color map from here. Put this to 4096. Do new from Polypaint. Clone it, and then I'm going to flip it vertically. And I'm going to call this, let's see, from Zbrush 1011. Okay. And then we will invert. New from Polypaint. Oh, no. Not cool. I forgot to get this stuff in there. New from Polypaint. Clone it. Flip it. Export it. Pardon me. And we got to grab this one again since I forgot the teeth in the first export. There we go. Okay. And then I am going to export an OBJ of this That will be my HD geometry. We'll give that a second to chug through while I stretch my neck. There we go. Right, that OBJ, Zbrush. While that's going on, let's pop over and check the chat. INZ asks, do you think in terms of how IRA is going to translate to the end textures in DAZ? Sometimes results vary a lot from substance to IRA. Yes, I do. I tend to think about that quite a bit, although I feel like I have some settings dialed in into Substance that really kind of help with that. So, but I do oftentimes like have Substance open and DAZ Studio at the same time, and I might just pop the model in there, load the textures generally on it, and kind of tweak back and forth between the two. So Sean says the stripes are really adding a lot to it. Thank you, sir. I kind of feel the same way. I have just the awfulest problem with my neck being super stiff today. So, let's see. Oh, yeah. That's a big OBJ, so it takes it a minute to export. So while it's doing that, I'll pop back over here. And anything else you guys can get a kick out of taking a look at? Let's pull this big boy here. This is a commission piece. He's got blue tack under his feet right now to help him stand up before I put him on a base. But, yeah, here you go. This is a big fat commission piece right here. I'm super, super happy with. So, yeah. This guy took a minute to do. It took a long time to pull this out of the resin. He's 18 inches tall. And just a rough piece to yank out of that vat, but feel really good about it. Very happy with it. Let's put him. Let's just sit you right here, good sir. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, that's our OBJ output. Cool. So let's go back over to Substance and rebake all my mesh maps. Okay, so I'm going to kick this out and load it anew and then bake everything from that. So we should get a little more breakup inside our normal maps that just will reflect the things that we've changed on the surface inside ZBrush. So give that a minute because that is an enormous OBJ for it to look at, so it'll take it a while. Okay. That is taking a bit longer than I'd hoped for. But we'll let that sit and chug. While that's going on, I'm going to pop back over to the chat. So let's see if anybody has any questions or comments or anything like that. All right. All right, y'all, Chatty McChattersons. I'm sure you got something to say. Let's see. Sean asks, how common are UDIMs in DS now? Pretty common. I have a love-hate relationship with them. There are some things that they make a little more difficult, but what they open up to you for being able to have, higher texture resolution and all kinds of stuff like that. It's like the trade-off is worth it. So a lot more of my stuff is incorporating extensive UDIMs, especially as I push forward with doing more creatures now. Really, had some interesting conversations lately with some folks, and I'm thinking that I'm going to be focusing a lot more on creatures again. I enjoy them more, so yeah, we'll be using. I'm definitely going to be using a lot more UDIMs. I've waffled back and forth on it for years, honestly. But with substance and everything now, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. It's finally at a point where Daz Studio really accepts it better, and a lot of things can work really well with that now. Let's see. I think a lot of other folks are doing it too. I think people are starting to do that more and more for clothing, busting stuff up into UDIMs for lots of different elements. So, let's see. Oh, Heinze says, nice hair on Logan. Thanks. Yeah, it's, pull the old guy back up here for a second. So, yeah, this guy was fun. And I also have an animation done with the model for this. So it's one of the things that I love about doing, physical stuff, but digitally, because I like to have everything rigged. So almost anything that I do as a sculpt like this is going to actually be built in an A pose or a T pose, and then can be rigged really easily. So the thing that I end up with as a physical piece also can be used for animation, and I just dig that. Tassos, hey, in the chat, Tassos is on. Tassos Anastasiades, my brother from another mother across the planet over in Greece. Hey, buddy. Check this guy out, man. Tassos, you're going to dig him. And since Tassos was not on earlier to see the unveiling of the paint of the dragon all painted up, we'll pop this guy back up here for a second. There you go, Toss. Very happy with that. So let's pop back over and see if that OBJ has exported yet. Okay, cool. It seems to have. Actually, it wasn't the export I was waiting on, was it? No, it was the map bake. Okay, cool. There we go. So let's pop back into Substance. So here we have rebaked my maps from the new HD OBJ, and then I want to come into my assets, go to my libraries, go to project, kill that little filter there, and I'm going to go grab those two new textures here. And for some reason now Substance does not want to accept my JPEGs, and I don't like that one stinking bit, or at least not in it's not allowing me to drag and drop them. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it publicly here. There are a few things Adobe has done with this since they got it that I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But the things that have ended up broken or changed in weird ways since Adobe got a hold of Substance, I'm not happy with. Not happy at all. Let's see, can we bring those in through here? Yeah, I can't just drag and drop my textures anymore. That's lame. Very, very lame. All right. Mm. Oh wow, I really like that texture coming out of ZBrush. Let's turn all those off. I'm going to bring this down to... I'm going to drop that right in here on top of everything. And let's see what we get when we put it all together. Turn off some of this stuff here. I may end up just exporting all the maps out of ZBrush. And let's do that. Let's go back to ZBrush real quick. And I'm going to do a multi-map export out of here. That may take a minute. Let's see. Of course, if ZBrush would try not to crash. Thanks, ZBrush. Let's go to multi-map exporter. And... oh, export options. We want to... see, I'm going to want my displacement. Don't need the normal. Displacement texture. Let's do AO. Maybe cavity. Yeah, let's do cavity. And then, let's see, flip V, okay, that's good. 49.6 is good. So, here's that. Let's see, smooth normals, do not smooth UV. Okay, cool. Alright. I label everything. All right, let's give that a minute. There it goes. Yeah, multi-map export should look at the different UDIMs used on the model and run the export for each of those individually. It's kind of nice. All right. While that's running, I'm going to step away for just a moment. And I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. And pop in the chat real quick. Heinzie says, I'd love to see how to rig a 6-legged creature in Daz. Well, I might include some stuff about that or kind of do an overview on it. That's a very involved process. It's quite possible. I mean, I could probably do something on it. It's a really involved process. I have a lot of shortcuts for, but still, it's finicky, man. It's really, really finicky. Let's see, is this thing... Man, it is still chugging on spitting those maps out. A couple of you guys really want to see some rigging videos, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Oh, the Discord speaks. Yeah, well, it's an ugly process, but yeah, I can look into that. It's quite probable that I could do that. I might do that with this one. This is actually a pretty complicated figure to kind of treat as a case study on something like that, but I could probably be persuaded. Now, if Zbrush could just finish exporting these maps, oh my god, that's so aggravating. I'm very confident that once these export out of here, they're going to look great taken into Substance. No. Let's see. Is ZBrush finally done with that? Oh, you know what? I forgot. I moved away to a different program, and ZBrush will pause when you do that. It needs all the juice your machine's got. That's lame. So lame, Zed. Poor Zed. That's funny. Whenever I have a big process like this going on, I can hear my machine run harder. It's so crazy. I don't like that. I don't like the sound of my machine running harder. I like to baby my machine. We'll keep this chugging for a minute. I'm gonna bring this up on another machine though. Turn the volume down so I can at least see the chat over there and not have ZBrush get confused. Alright, y'all. I'm curious how this is going to work out over here, by the way. Let's go over to the tripod. Turn that light off. Cool. So, yeah, that's the tall cam. It's up on a tripod and kind of shows off the space around me and all that. So, curious to see how it looks if I'm talking to that. I'm curious about the eye line to that camera. So, still tweaking things out. I mean, God, I know it's been like 2 months, but I'm still kind of tweaking on the setup here for all this. So, I think it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, no more demon watching me in the background. Yeah, the Darth Maul mask has moved, so I don't have Darth Maul on my shoulder anymore. So, looks like that finished. So I can pop back over here. I'm going to go to Substance Painter. And then inside Substance Painter, we should be able to now. I'm going to go import a bunch of stuff. So, come here. Substance. Oh, look. Substance is going to save and take time. Thanks, Substance. Okay. If these programs could not have to take, smoke breaks every 30 seconds, that'd be awesome. Let's add some resources. Multi-map export. We're going to grab all of it. I knew I needed to do that. Let's open this stuff up in a different window. Let's see. Come on now. Different window. Open a new window. There we go. Alright. So I need to change the names on all this stuff so that Substance reads it the way it likes, which is really annoying. So let's come in here and do some bulk renaming. I will open this up to my entire window. So there's that. And I have all of this open now in the bulk rename utility that I like to use. So then I'm going to take... Okay. So I'm going to take everything that has this one. U1, V1, U0, V1. 1. I'm going to double check here. Okay. So all of these, let's see, let's replace underscore U1 score V1 with, let's see what's going to be over in here now. It's going to be 1012. Okay. So those are renamed. Now U0 V1 is going to be 101 1. Okay. There's that. So now I'm also going to go into this depth map here. Just remove all of that because Zbrush puts that stuff on here as a value for you to use in different programs. It puts it in the name so you can always see the value, which is kind of cool. I get it, but it's really not useful anymore. Or at least not useful for my purposes. Alright, so now let's open all of those in here. And select them all at once. I'm going to go / the map export. That way I always know what all of this is from. I'll bring those into here and import. Okay, so now let's take this guy, drop it in here. Are those all flipped vertically? I think they're all flipped vertically. Some are, some aren't. That's really... Oh, that's really weird. I see what I did. I accidentally had that visible, so it did both of those. So all that HD5 stuff can just go die. So we'll just close you, close you, close you. It should kick those out. Anywho, Let's go now. I'm going to shove my depth map into the height channel on here. That's going to do some nice stuff. Then I have a cavity map here. Let's turn that off for the moment. Let's go to our texture set settings. I'm going to try using my cavity map as a curvature map. And then I'm going to pull this AO, put it on here. Nope, I want to keep the other one. Alright, so there's my depth map. Let's turn that height on. Probably going to end up having to dial that back a little bit. That's still pretty cool. Right. And then roughness. I've actually had interesting results before plugging a Zbrush created depth map into my roughness. But not this time. Actually, that works pretty well. The depth map into the roughness there. So we're able to get in pretty close. Make sure I'm still showing the right stuff here. Oh, cool. There we go. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty darn good about that. So I'm going to drag this all the way to the bottom here and let this be the base on all this. Then I'm going to come through and like turn on some of the stuff I originally had painted just a little bit at a time and probably dial a lot of it back. Thinking, let's try something here. Take that mask off of there. Let's add a fill. And let's grab that, that cavity mask right there. Cavity map. And then we're going to invert that mask. And then I'm also going to add levels above it. There we go. See how that? There, I'm using that cavity map to get that little bit of untouched skin to come up in the cracks. I know it's a lot just to get a tiny effect like that, but that's what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. Yeah. So now this is all much better. Much better. Yes. So now let's turn this top that we had on initially. And we can bring some of that color back in, and that's nice. That's going to work out well. Like that. I think I'm going to set that to overlay. See how that interacts. Because I don't want it to completely stomp out my striping that I had in there. But I still want the stripes to be kind of subtle. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this. used some of that up. Now let's turn on our first bone types in here. We can kind of stack that back on top. But again, I don't want it to completely dominate, so set it to overlay, bring it back down here. And then let's grab this one. And that one, again, we're going to dial it back so our effects become much more subtle, especially that height. And what did I have in here? Oh yeah, I had this stuff painted in. Okay. Okay. There's all that, which I'm really digging. Now I want to do a little bit with adding some painted bump and normal. So let's just turn all that off, go back to all libraries. Let's see what happens when we turn on our AO kicker on top of that too. Ooh, pretty cool. We can back that off a little bit. So now we've got some shadows in the cracks, but then we have that lightness showing through. Very cool. I am digging that. Digging that. I'm actually feeling like this is one of the best creature textures I've done in a while. So now I want to, let's go with a regular paint layer, and then I want to find, oh, it's going to take forever to refresh all these brushes, isn't it? I have a lot of brushes, in case you can't tell. So, curious. I thought I had something that was for cutting into normals. Actually, no. What we're gonna do here. Put a little bit lighter color in here because we are going to use some color in this. And then we're going to take our height map and kick that out. And bring that height up a little bit. Yes. So now we can come in here and paint some really subtle stuff in. I'm really going to boost that height. So this way we get some kind of fleshiness there. It really feels right for this thing to be able to like blink and stuff. we can use that to kick up around these gums a little bit more. And I think I want to give a similar treatment under parts of these feet. Maybe not quite as extreme. Just kind of going through here and touching it with that lighter, fleshy tone. Again, I say, Adobe, please change the light in here. Fix this so that you know, we can look at this stuff the right way. I'm not going to go that far with that. And again, I don't know, let's just gently go in there with some of that. See if we can't give it a little more variation in the bottom. We can always erase it. Actually, I think that's a good idea right there. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I feel really good about that, actually. Let's save that. Take a little stretch while it's saving. Sean says taking the time to add those extra details pays off, and it shows. He says looking really good. I appreciate that, and I do agree. I have a bad habit of being very frustrated with how long things can take, but it does pay off. It really does. And let's just see. I'm gonna go close up ZBrush since I no longer need it. And then we may crash, but I'm gonna try popping this up in iRay here, which Substance has iRay built into it. So let's see what happens. It's probably gonna cause my machine to scream. So let's see. Yeah, that's nice. I think that's going to work out really well inside Manga Studio. So there we have it. That guy is done. Of course, he doesn't have his eyes in here, but the eyes I'm going to use some off-the-shelf eyes that I've saved. I keep a nice bits box of stuff like that I can pull. So I'll be able to pull some eyes and put those in him, and those will work out really well. I feel really good about this texture. Really good. I can't wait to see this inside iRay, and I will probably do a video on rigging this guy since it's been asked for. Because there's a whole stinking process I go through with that. So anyway, well, that's going to bring this to a close. I went over a little bit, but you know, it could have been far worse. So let's pop back out. So thanks everybody for hanging out. As always, I appreciate your time and your attention. Hope you enjoyed this and maybe picked up some tips and tricks from it, or just got some entertainment value out of it. Remember, as always, like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell, and go to success1.com. Sign up for the newsletter, which we should have a new newsletter coming out probably next week. We'll put some interesting stuff in there, some updates on things going on. And till tomorrow morning, thanks for watching.
Thank you very much.